Smiling. And we're live. Welcome to you, the viewer. Welcome to our fantastic panel, which has gotten bigger by one. So Samjita, Daniel's wife, is joining us, and you can see on the side right there. She's lovely.
Hey, everyone.
Smiles. It's the after dram, and that means it's time to unwind. So put your feet up, grab a dram or two, and relax. Really, we'll just talk. As a quick recap to our evening, Cheryl, Dave, Drew, Jason, Kent, Nick, Sheila, and I have done a deep dive into chapters 1 to 3, which is basically the basics: Walking the White Dog in America the Beautiful. That's our 3 chapters we've done, and it was, of course, informative, entertaining. It was fun. And we're going to do another round of introductions. So we're going to go around the handle, and again, we're going to ask you what's in your drink, but we're not going to make anyone large this time. We're just going to hang back and sip as everyone else talks. So Daniel, let's start with you, and then go to Samjita, and we're just going straight across and then down.
Absolutely. Daniel, you can follow me at Yaffe, YAFFEEE on Instagram. I am drinking, or we're both drinking a Wayward single malt from Santa Cruz, California. Really, really, really nice taste. You can see we just kind of cracked into it recently, but
among friends, it's the perfect time. And who gave that to you?
You know, I was just thinking about that. I actually don't know who gave that to us.
Okay, so it was a friend, and we don't want to put you on the spot, so I'll just keep. Sorry, Cheryl, help.
Cheryl. Hi, I'm Cheryl. I go by Cheryl's_1 on social media. I'm drinking another concoction of a cocktail that my husband made that, could be good or bad. We're not sure.
I'm calling this a lemon meringue pie.
Ooh, a lemon meringue pie. Nice. Well, that's Kent talking. And what else do you have in your glass, kind sir?
Yes. Oh, I made what I call a monkey's brain.
Go really close because it looks hideous.
Oh,
it does look hideous.
It's like black liquor. Really, really delicious. So part of it is to get everything suspended so that it actually looks like brains or mush and goo. And it's part of it.
Excellent. So that's really a Halloween drink, but
it really is. But it's what I felt like tonight.
Dave. Let's click on you.
Yukon Dave coming from the basement, drinking some Rupert's Special Canadian whiskey.
Nice.
Good
one. Sheila.
I'm Sheila. I'm Anconia on all the social medias, and Drew and I are both drinking Bullet's 10-year, which I guess means we're drinking Four Roses again.
Yeah, pretty much.
For those of you that didn't know, yes. And they're sourced or they're owned by?
They were sourced for Roses up until 2016. They're making their own now.
Okay, good stuff. And Drew, you're drinking the same thing. You're not double fisting?
I still have some of my Knob Creek rye left. So yes, I am.
Excellent, good for you. And Mac Daddy.
Hi, I'm Jason. You can find me on Instagram at jmac_25. I am drinking some small batch Canadian rye. This is Dylan's rye.
Ooh.
And it's just a little bit left, so it's going to be a bottle kill tonight.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I like that. Thank you, sir. And Nicholas.
Hey there. To stick with today's theme on the book for American the Beautiful, page 63 talks about brands are tossing out tradition, going for new stuff. So I got this stuff I picked up in Montana. Called Tobacco Root Mountain Rye Whiskey from Ennis, Montana.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, I walked into this little distillery in Montana. I gave a bottle to Dolph there, so him and I opened it about a year ago. So tonight I said I'm going to open mine and finally tried it. It's actually not bad for a Tobacco Root Mountain. I tried it about a year and a half ago.
Is that from Eureka?
Ennis, ENNIS, Montana.
Yeah, because the Tobacco Valley is up around Eureka there.
Yeah, but I think they're using a tobacco root mountain. Yeah, I'm not sure. I just know it's got a weird flavor to it. And for a rye, I went, hey, let's try it. It's 50%, and let's give it a shot. So I bought some, brought them back up here to Canada, and I figured tonight was a good night to crack it open.
So where
is
you buy
a
that?
little bit of funk to it,
Oh.
and I love it. It was good.
If you go down Main Street in Ennis, it's the distillery's right on Main Street. And this is the only one they had that was like over 40%.
Excellent. And you have
I
to
said,
get
let's try it.
capturing. All right. And
But if you want some, you have to
right.
talk to Dolph has a bottle, and I have this bottle now with me.
Nice.
Not bad.
Two that
Not
you
bad.
can get your samples from. Excellent. I'm doing Elijah Craig just because it was closer than my other. I just reached behind me and I got it, and I was feeling lazy. So Elijah Craig 12 is good, and I still have like Drew just a little itty bitty bit of my Tamdu, which I'm going to lift up, and then a beer as well. This is a red rye IPA, which is really kind of. And that Dave is from what's the cat distillery here?
Alley Cat.
Alley Cat. Thank you, Alley Cat.
I just had that today too. I went to the distillery and got the last of their batch. They're out now.
It's the brewer's choice, I think, and it's lovely. So
Yeah.
it is very good. So welcome everyone. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'm going to go to my last question that we didn't deal with. So this is my only real serious question. The other ones are important enough, but not as serious. So, and it's also a quote because everyone knows I like my quotes. It starts in reality. I can't find it. Once. All right.
But we do have Nick, and we found him here.
Daniel speaks to the history and genesis of many bourbon distilleries. In reality, most bourbon distilleries are family heirlooms and retain the personal charm you might expect from a local diner. So we have the perception from this and from marketing that these distilleries are intimate, family-owned and run distilleries. How small are they in comparison to the average Scotch distillery? Because they might try to make us think that they're itty bitty family owned. It's me and Papa running it. It's Grandpa and it's me. But maybe if they're making 90 million liters or gallons of whiskey a year, maybe they're not so small. So how small are they in comparison to average Scotch distillery? And I was going to do the math with you because I'm a math teacher, but I'm going to stop that. I was going to compare the millions of distilleries divided by 750 mils or the ounces and then figure it out. But let's not. So, Daniel, can you answer that for me? How big are they?
So now what's interesting is the laws have changed over the last like 15, 20 years. There are so many craft distilleries in the U.S., far more than I am aware of in Scotland. I mean, we're in the Bay Area. 15 years ago, there was maybe one distillery, a couple distilleries. Now, I mean, you can get whiskey. I mean, we're drinking whiskey from Santa Cruz. Like, I thought they were just smoking pot the whole time. I didn't realize they were distilling anything.
And how is it? Are they doing a good job?
This is actually really good. This is really nice. But I guarantee this is like a couple friends. I mean, I don't think Wayward is mass producing. But so now, especially with the craft revolution, one might call it. I think there's a lot of very, very small micro distilleries out there that are mom and pop shops, or at least small. Somebody mentioned like Westward over in Seattle.
Seattle, yeah.
They're now owned by a larger company. They're owned by is it
Ricard?
Is it Pernod Ricard?
No.
Yeah, and but a lot of these have started off small and become successful, and there are some amazing small distilleries out there now.
Yeah.
Alrighty, and there are, but I was looking for, because we talked.
Did I answer that wrong?
No, you didn't answer it wrong. You answered it politically correct, but I want this guy, and I want to know the truth. Gosh darn it, damn it. I mean the truth. So if we talk Wild Turkey and we're talking about the same distiller that's been there forever, and they try to portray themselves as mom and pop, they do. Yeah. Are they mom and pop, or are they just so big that's just their spin to make us feel like it?
Yeah, I'm going to use an analogy of you guys know. Oh gosh, what's the vodka from Texas?
Not Tito's.
Tito's. You guys know Tito's vodka?
Yeah.
The cultural reference here. Anyway, Tito's vodka is like this massively produced vodka, hugely corporate. There is a guy, Tito, right? And he actually did start the company. I mean, it's not unlike Bullet, right? Bullet was started by Tom Bullitt, 30 years ago, it's given that there are those icons, right? Or if you look at the Russells from Wild Turkey, I mean, there are those icons in the industry. If you trace some of them back far enough, I don't know about Tom Bullitt, but some of the other ones, there are the families that have been a part of it. But no, I think those stories have been latched onto, right? Those stories are the stories of marketing, which make people, helps people identify with them. No, a lot of those companies, it is the stories. I mean, any of these large companies, it's the stories. I mean, even Guinness, you think about beer, it's the stories that make it feel craft.
Yeah.
Luckily, I think there are enough craft companies out there now.
Are you asking a volume question?
I don't do math on that.
I was asking for the volume question because there's that Elijah Craig, and if we do Jim Beam, and there's so many out there with the beautiful story behind them that I think is really bullshit, and they're just trying to make us feel like we're buying into this family concept. This happens in Scotland too, and it also happens at Wiser's. We thought it was this small little Canadian company, and that they're family, they're Canadian, let's get it. But when you find out that they're making 92 billion liters a year, it loses the family kind of perception for me.
Dr. Don might be watching us.
Yeah, and Dr. Don, I love it, and we like our Wisers, but it's not a family business. It's not. And I do like the family businesses, and I am a sucker for advertising. I'm a sucker because people can prey on someone like me very easily because I want to give my heart to it. I want to be devoted to something. I really do. You find something to be devoted to and focus on. And then when you hear about how big they are, it's like, yeah, I was a sucker.
Yeah, but Dolph, when you're sitting there and you're taking a look at the family or whatever, some of the Scotch distilleries that we know are not family, they're owned by through Diageo, Detta, whatever else, but they make X number of hundreds of millions or whatever liters a year with 6 employees.
Yeah.
So if you were to have that being a family, 6 people could all be from the same family and still do 60 million a year. So because they're still tight, tiny little groups that are doing it, why can't it be a family? If go to Bullet or all the rest of the stuff, if they only have 7 people working in the distillery, most of it
they are one.
Watching the barrel.
I was thinking about Springbank. I'm also thinking about Glenn Farkless. I just love the stories when it's one group. Or with Springbank, which is great because that one distillery employs half the town. I love that kind of
Yeah.
So
because they decided to do everything by hand.
The other thing I love that later on in the book, I'm jumping ahead here, but I talk about how I hopped on a plane out of Islay back to Glasgow, and I was with the entire Ardbeg distillery. All of our families were on this plane. I was like, nice. Please don't go down. But it's interesting because even though Ardbeg owned by a major company, a major conglomerate, it's still these families that have worked at the distillery for years. So the product itself, even though it's owned by a corporate company, has corporate money behind it, has corporate marketing, there is that family craft. And again, they are the ones who know how to make it more than the people sitting in, wherever, New York or Paris.
The pencil pusher
somewhere. Yeah.
Look at the marketing side, and it's a much better story to hear that this has been 200 years in our family versus we're owned by an international giant that we don't care about anybody.
Yeah. And we've got 3 employees that run the still 8 hours each for 24 hours a day. And yeah, I know. But I do. I look for the links, and that's why I go to the distilleries. As soon as I can go to a distillery and put a face and a feeling to a bottle, I'm pretty well devoted to them, and I'll keep doing it. So when we did our Canadian whiskey journey this summer, and we met all of those distillers, there's a place in my heart for them, and I'm going to buy their stuff. Odd Society is one of them. I keep following them. Never heard about them before this, and now I follow them all the time, and I buy just about everything. And my wife,
being another one.
You know, I do it. Anyways, so that's me. I just wanted to get these numbers out there. I wanted to poo-poo them a little bit and kind of like jab at them, but that's all right. We can be nice. Everyone's being very diplomatic and beautiful now. That's great. Have another couple drinks, and we'll see how you are in the after dram. Like it. You don't have to stick around for that, but we usually stick around for a bit afterwards, and that's where it gets a little bit crazy. A little bit. So, referring to your whiskey choices, it's all really about this quote. It's really all about what fits your taste buds at this specific moment. So Daniel and panel, I'm pretty sure we can all relate to this, but just to demonstrate it, I want each one of the panel members to finish this question or to tell me what they do. So what do you like to drink when you're, and fill in the blank, I don't care. Hot, cold, having a miserable day in front of the fire, finishing your day, nostalgic, feeling experimental, a bit angry. I'm going to do the angry one myself. I just want to know yours in a situation where you'll go to a specific whiskey if you have something like that. And let's just go straight across. Daniel, let's go to you. And then Samjeet right after. I'm going to put you on the spot too.
I when I'm out in the wilderness, cold, like watching the sunrise, I will turn to Lagavulin every time.
Oh, good choice. I love your lag.
He likes the Band-Aid taste. I can tell a lag anywhere. Any independent bottler, when I'm blind, I can tell a lag. That's good. Good one. Samjeet?
Well, for me, I'm like a Bay Area gal always. And so if I'm at a bar, if I'm out, and I see like any of the whiskeys that have come out of St. George Spirits, that is like my go-to. My go-to, like I'm out in the world, and yeah.
So that's your fun whiskey. Can we call it that? That's your having fun. It's your social whiskey.
Yeah, that would be like having fun.
Okay.
But like feeling very, there's something grounding. Like it feels like home. There's something that is very connected to home. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, good one.
Yeah.
Cheryl, how about you?
Oh man, it's tough because it does seem to change. I'm not I stick with one thing. I think currently right now my go-to would kind of be a Deanston, and pretty much any Deanston. We've first got the new Park whiskey bottling that I'm kind of really enjoying. And so you're having a day and you're just kind of done with the day.
That's the one.
I love to pour myself some Deanston. Like it's just, it's kind of been my go-to right now, but it does seem to change.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to call it your hard day liquor. Done.
Yeah.
Help me out, guys. Help me out with a sentence and then the drink. Or I'll just be creative.
With the shit at work, Cheryl needs a Deanston, okay?
Done. And that's a nice one. It's a 24-year-old. It's a beautiful bottle.
Yes.
Kent.
There's a reason we have 125 open bottles here. Oh my God, like you pissed me off today, right? Oh my God, it's like it's been a pretty decent day. Oh my God, I'm kind of in a party mood, right? And tomorrow, all my answers will change.
That's okay. We're living in the moment, buddy. We're saying whatever's on our mind right now.
I seriously, I have bottles that I might not touch for months, and all of a sudden it's like
years.
That's my bottle of choice for the next. Wisers. I mean, we did 7 Rebels this year, give you kind of a little quick history lesson. It went to as a BC exclusive, which is the province over for us. We did not get any of it. We had a buddy working there. He brought $2,100 worth of 7 Rebels into Alberta for about 10 of us. And of that, I have 5 bottles right now that we haven't drank. So that was kind of a go-to for a long time, right?
Yeah.
You might want to hold on to a few at one point.
Oh yeah.
I might have 2 full bottles with a couple more coming, but
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Don.
All right. Dave, a bottle that you do when you're hot, cold, having a miserable day, having a great day, just have sex. I don't care. Give me a title and a
They
drink.
don't want to know about your sex life. You have
I was
way
gonna
too
say
much.
that's not on the list. I didn't see that. So I'm going to do the breakfast whiskey.
Okay, done.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah,
So,
with cereal. That's good.
At my house, breakfast whiskey happens quite often, and usually I'm working, so it's a scientific breakfast whiskey.
Yeah.
I got to go with my maple whiskey.
Oh, that is delicious.
I mean, it's like that on pancakes.
You're a good Canadian boy. That's it. Breakfast. Pour it on my pancakes. Fruit Loop and maple. Done. Thank you, sir. Sheila.
I enjoy when we go camping or just sit in the back of the yard in the fire. So I'm gonna say Lafroig, probably quarter cask, or sorry.
He told you his and you stole it? That's good. He has to come up with something new. That's all right. Go ahead there, Drew.
For me, then in that case, then I'm gonna say Bad Day. I'd go number 4. 2 brewers.
Okay. Do you have enough number 4 to go around for a while?
No, he's in trouble.
I've got.
He's really in trouble.
Yeah, I'm down to a third of the, and I think I might have one more.
And Daniel and Sanjita, just so you know, they're up to number 24, and they go one after, so they're sequential. So 4 has been 7 years ago, Dave?
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Oh, 5. Okay.
What
So
year?
my-
My 2 brewers is 14, and luckily I have another replacement bottle on its way.
Drew, you're going to have to come up with something new for the Mad Day.
Yeah.
That's all right. Mac Daddy.
I think my go-to bottle, regardless if I'm hot or cold or having a miserable day, is a Lafroig 10.
Okay.
Yeah, and something that I do that's unusual is something I learned in Japan, what they call a haiboru, which is basically means a highball, and it's what we call just a whiskey and soda. So, but rather than a cheap whiskey, they will actually do it with a single malt like a Lafroig.
Okay.
And you might think it's destroying a single malt, putting ice and soda in it, but I don't know what they do, but they do it really well. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. A lot of Lafroig love going on here. I would never guess. Okay. That's good. Nick, I'm guessing, but
Oh, you'll know it. You already know it.
Yeah.
6, 7, 6, 7.
6-2.
I'm tired. No. When I'm tired, the only one I can answer specifically is if I reach for a bottle, it's because I'm tired and I don't really want to think. So when it's creative, it's always going to be something different. It's hot. I probably would be just water. But if I'm really the go-to bottle when I'm tired and I don't want to think, I just want to grab something I know, Ardbeg 10. It's going to be Ardbeg 10.
And
Ardbeg 10. Not a Lafroig, what everybody else seems like. Ardbeg 10.
Ardbeg 10.
Ardbeg 10.
which is part of our next tasting, by the way, for the Alberta Scotch
Yeah, it's 'cause it's
Society
me.
on Friday. We're having our pairing of Barts, and that's what we're putting on the ice cream.
Oh, yes.
So that'll be
One of
that's
them
great on
we might be putting on.
Ardbeg 10 is fabulous in a Caesar or a Bloody Mary if you don't like
Yes,
this.
it is. Yeah.
You
right.
can play with Ardbeg 10, but yeah, no, when I'm tired and I'm sitting downstairs and I want to think, I want to go into my collection and go, what am I? It's Ardbeg 10. It's right there. I grab it, fill it up.
Okay.
I'd even do it in front of the
would have been
fireplace.
the 6-2.
6-2.
You're up to more. Or 6-3. Or 6-3. Or 6-1. Which Octomore do you have like 10 bottles, 20 bottles of? 25.
You're talking about those ones. Yeah, no, those are special occasions. When I am tired and I don't want to think, I want a whiskey that. Okay, put it this way. Now that Octomore is like triple the price now, mine are special. So I gotta go through them at a pace.
All right.
I'm
gonna tell you mine. Nope. Are you done? You good? Mine's angry. Mine's with my bad day. I'm angry. I come home and I'm mad at the world. I don't want to talk to the dogs. Laura knows what to do generally. So she puts on a very specific movie for me. And I go downstairs and I get my Octomore 7.4. That's my favorite Octomore. So I like something with a huge, huge punch. And the other one that does do that for me is
Yippee-ki-yay.
let's just stick with that. And the Octomore 7.4, because it's French oak and it's sweet, but it's spicy because I like rye and tons of peat. And the movie is 300. So that's my feel-good movie. That makes me feel better. And as soon as they get there, this is Sparta! Kicks them in the chest. I'm okay. I'm done. I deflate. And I watched 2 hours of gratuitous violence and sex. It's fantastic. And I was at that point last Tuesday. I got home and I was just fit to be tied. It's just I had enough of everyone and everything, and that made me happy again. So that was it. Just a huge punch of Lefroy, and it was a big pour. It was right over the bubble. And Laura was that's adult pour time too. Like, are you gonna walk later? It's like, no, I want this and leave me alone. So and I think she made me nachos for supper too. So it was like all comfort, everything. Amazing.
Yeah. I've got a bunch of old beer advertisements going back to like 1901.
Okay.
And they talk about what a good wife should do for her husband, and I'll have to copy those for you.
Okay. That's a testy thing.
Laura will kill you.
Well,
I'll show my lovely wife this thing, but
this is strictly historical. It's got nothing to do with how I see things.
It's all for education, Dave. All education.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with what I
But
expect.
it was advertising that was put out in magazines.
Okay. So it's got to be good.
Yeah.
Because it's all truthful.
I'm not making this shit.
Have you ever heard of those books that came out in the 50s, 60s on how housewives should treat their husbands?
Oh,
I think
yeah.
put out
My
by
daughter's
Betty
reading one right
Crocker
now.
or
She's
something like that.
15. And I
They're
went,
hilarious.
By
she's
Betty
having
Crocker.
a fun time reading them. Anyway.
Yes, I think it's a fun thing to read, and your daughter and your wife will appreciate them, I'm sure.
Well, they have a kick out of it.
They have to.
Anyway.
Maybe your daughter.
Body.
My daughter didn't have a problem telling me if I was ever wrong about something. So, and I think your daughter is getting to that age right now. I think.
Oh, she's been there.
Has she? Okay, good.
Yeah, she's been there for a while.
I'm throwing a quote up, even though I don't usually do this for the after dram. Once the whiskey industry took hold in the United States, the rest of the world looked on with envy, and other countries leapt into making and consuming the spirit. So that's page 16. Daniel, did the whiskey industry start in the United States as opposed to Scotland, Ireland, and Canada? So I'm putting you on the spot for that one. And why is it not my country? I thought it was my country, Daniel. I thought it was Canada.
Yeah. So you are 100% right. I actually, when you sent me this quote, I had to go look in my book and be like, why did I write that? What was the context?
You were feeling patriotic.
Well, it was the quote. It was the sentence before that actually helped place this quote, which was what. Oh my God, this is a long sentence.
Go for it. We're good.
Techniques of the whiskey making process changed as it hit the New World, right? Which the New World is also Canada. So let's keep that in mind. And again, whiskey was a key character in the political and social landscape of the emerging world power.
Yeah,
United States. It was sought by governing officials and Western pioneers alike because it became the drink of choice for hundreds of American senators, poets, and actors. So what I was trying to say here, I honestly was like, why would I write that? What I meant here was that the U.S. has led a lot. I feel like very touchy saying this to a bunch of Canadians, but the the U.S. has led in a lot of like cultural aspects, right? Hollywood is here. Most of the world follows American politics, unfortunately, more than we follow other. So the fact that whiskey permeated this cultural society blasted it out to the rest of the world, right? I mean, as far as I understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't, I'm not an expert in this historical context. Whiskey making it picked up when people started seeing whiskey in movies, in poems, in writing, in a way that had never been seen in the rest of the world. I am not trying to say that it all started here at all. I'm just saying that it was woven into culture in a way that actually like blasted it out to the rest of the world in a way that it hadn't. I mean, Scotland doesn't have a thriving movie industry. Let's put it that way.
I'd actually like to blame the Americans for chill filtering.
What was that?
I'd like to blame the Americans for chill filtering.
That makes sense. It's that an American taste, right?
You put ice into whiskey for the movies, it creates a cloudy whiskey. So chill filtering.
They got rid of it.
I guess you could also point out that American at the time when you're saying the movies come out started becoming an economic powerhouse, right? So obviously you got the country that's probably making the most money, a lot of disposable income starts going into whiskey, buying their American whiskey at a much greater rate than it would be. So I could see that happening. I'm just pointing that out, that I could see that happening.
In the 60s, where are they getting most of the whiskey in the States? So at this point, we've got Jack Daniels coming to the forefront, and it's still tons of Canadian whiskey at that point. Oh, that's hideous. What are you doing with that?
He said craft distillers coming out with weird stuff in his little thing. Okay. So I grabbed the weirdest.
So
American craft.
Sorry,
right, this is Fireball.
I'm not.
You said Jack Daniels.
I'm whiskey shaming you. Actually, I am.
I like it. Actually,
that's freaking hideous.
It's my end of the day whiskey.
No, it's not. No, it's
not. Show a real bottle. Real freaking bottle.
After having your Ardbeg 10, you reach for that.
No, this is my fun whiskey. I can't drink this with other whiskeys, but I'm going to do it tonight.
Oh, okay. I'm calling bullshit.
I moved on to that. Can you guys get that in Canada?
Wildfire. No, I've never seen that.
No.
Corsair. Corsair is a fascinating brand. They're in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
It's a malt. It's a pot distilled from hickory smoked barley. They do some really crazy fun stuff.
And I'm guessing it's in first fill with the color of that too, right? Does it say?
What is this? I think it is, but I don't actually know. Look at only 1,400. You can see that only 1,400 bottles.
Yeah,
very small batch.
Did you ask about the color?
Yeah.
What's the name of that bottle again?
I was guessing that it was a first fill.
Wildfire.
It's Corsair is the distillery.
Right.
You think it's in small barrels?
I've been there. I forgot if they're small barrels or not.
To get something
I think they're experimenting with both.
Yeah, to get something that dark really quickly, small barrels will do that.
Yeah. If you're doing a quarter cast, you're not doing that in a hogshead.
I think you're right. Yeah. It's really nice though. It's I'm enjoying a lot of the American malt whiskeys that are coming out now. I mean, I was drinking Wayward earlier. Some really interesting things.
Here's a new one. When you taste, remember that spicy and strong are two different sensations in your mouth. A dram of whiskey might taste harsh because of its spiciness rather than its alcohol content. So I'm asking everyone up here on the panel, Daniel included, and his lovely wife, Shamdi, if she can hear in the background. Can you tell the difference between strong and spicy, and can you explain it to me? And I'm going to start with Sheila just because she always says the white pepper thing with me. And that's how I think she differentiates it. So I'm going to start with Sheila and then go around. Can we tell the difference between spicy and strong or very like high strength like we're used to?
Well, this is where you get into the really fun stuff about my brain research.
Okay.
So it's actually activation of the nerve centers of your brain. So spicy is, and cool is. So that sensation of hot or cool, and the sensation of spicy and minty. So when you're drinking something and you get the taste sensation of minty or the flavor sensation of minty, or you get a taste sensation of spicy or peppery, it's actually an activation of, and I'm going to pronounce it wrong because I'm not so great on it, the trigeminal nerve. So it's actually, you're activating the pain center in your brain.
Pain.
So it's the same pain center.
Mint is pain as well. Okay.
Yeah. So that mint sensation is your tongue getting the sensation of cold.
Okay.
So
cold
and cold. So
cold.
that's mint.
Cold. Okay.
And your brain is interpreting that as the flavor mint. And so when you get a peppery sensation or spicy or certain spices, your brain is interpreting that as hot. So not necessarily strong, but that's where spicy and peppery and hot come from, is how your brain is interpreting certain sensations of pain.
All right.
That's awesome.
That is. Now, can we tell, without knowing that, can you tell if it's spicy or if it's a high alcohol content? So, Nick, let's go to you because you're giving me some.
I can tell, but see, the problem is I can tell when it's whiskey spicy. Obviously, that's normal. But having drunk so many 63% and higher that are very smooth, a lot of independent bottlers that you would never guess 63. I cannot tell if one is strong or not unless I read the bottle. I really can't. I can always tell if something's spicy or not. That's obvious, but so
Nick,
I can't.
I'm gonna call bullshit.
That's what I'm saying is
no,
what?
You're wrong.
I'd agree with Nick.
I agree with Nick.
SWSs, you and I, so Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, for those out there that haven't been to these meetings, and you've been able to tell if it's a 52% compared to a 65%. You and I are fairly good at determining how high on that level it is, because we're always guessing. These are blind tastes, and we're throwing out this information, and we are pretty good at that.
Yeah, and we're also trying to guess the age too, though, right?
Yeah.
So there's like 5 things you got to put together to get there. So we look at the age of the whiskey. We look at the age of the whiskey. We even do the heel, the little drips sometimes to see if it's high in oil content or not. But for me to just blindly taste one, I mean, yeah, for the most part, it might taste spicy when it's strong. But we've had some smooth older ones that just blown our minds away. That went, oh, this is 61%. It's smooth.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask the rest of the panel, because I believe they can tell the difference between a 40% and a cask strength.
Yes. Well, that I can do.
Is weak, and we can tell, I think, just about all of us, the difference. But can you tell the difference between spicy and a 62%? So if I gave you blind and I have tons of rye, so I give you a rye, or let's say Canadian whiskey with a really small rye content, but rye-like. Can you tell the difference between the heat of the cask strength and the spice on the rye? And let's go Cheryl and Kent. I almost said Cheryl and sorry.
Where I'm looking at it is the spice is a little more centralized in your mouth. The touch of it, the feel of it, whereas the high alcohol content fills your mouth with it. It's not a centralized point of it. So I think that would be the difference for me. It's the spice, it would be centralized. The high ABV, I'm going to feel it in my whole mouth.
Good point.
Especially rye. For me, I get it in a very, very small pinpoint on my tongue. I can tell you, even low volumes of rye will hit me in a very specific spot.
Yeah, I was going to say,
for me, it's the back of the tongue on the sides.
Rye hits me more towards the tip, right in the middle.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're spicy when you sit there, like the difference between spicy, like rye spicy, the heat or the spice of a young immature, or the burn of alcohol are all different spices. So
I can get for that. All right. Daniel, can you tell?
Often, yes. Only because I and probably we have had enough to like really start to differentiate. I have a pet peeve, and I don't know if this happens with all of you. When I ask somebody, "What does this taste like to you?" Right, and they go, "Smooth."
Flavor.
Smooth is not a flavor. It's not a taste. There's no smooth taste buds, you know. And vice versa. When people say, "Oh, this is like super strong," and sometimes it's not, right? And that fascinates me. Like from I love the brain conversation. When people say this is strong, sometimes I'll look at it and be like, "No, it's 80 proof. It's not that strong," but it feels harsh. The taste is spicy. There's something there that feels like there's something. I mean, usually, we all know it probably has a lot of heads and tails, you know, what's going on. But for the untrained tongue, it feels strong. It feels like, oh, this tastes like a lot of alcohol, where sometimes it's actually not. And so I talk to people a lot about that. I that's one of those things I love to correct friends on when we're out for drinks.
Actually, that's kind of funny because we went out to see some of our friends in BC earlier, and we were doing an ass tasting, so we brought our tasting out with us, and they are not hard alcohol people at all.
You had an ass tasting?
Which is Alberta Scotch Society.
Okay, I just wanted to make that clear.
For an ass tasting.
Everybody here.
I didn't know. I mean,
yeah,
you should.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, we went out to taste their ass. No, anyway, they don't drink hard alcohol. So they found everything very harsh, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't one of those, I can't remember what the tasting was, but it wasn't.
It was that port one.
Oh, it was the port one. Yeah,
cherry
that's the first port tasting we did.
The different
So
cherries.
we basically watered a lot of it down to 20%. So it wasn't harsh by no means. But they're used to, you know, cocktails and beer and, you know, mixed stuff. RTDs and stuff that is, you know, 12%. Not 20 or 40. Ready to drink.
Oh, got it. Sorry.
Can I ask for the Ass Society? Is it called the Ass Society?
Yes, it is.
Alberta Scotch Society. We call ourselves asses. I'm the president of ASS, by the way.
Really? Is there
a head ass?
Yeah, and we're all proud members of ASS.
I love it. Is there a tagline?
We're members of ASS.
Yeah,
Every time we have a meeting.
On Kent, help us out. You're our
You're the media guy.
You're our media mogul guy.
Tagline.
I've got a great new tagline.
We have a webpage if you want to look us up.
Okay,
And,
Kent. Kent, I got the tagline for the group. It's "How do you like my ass?"
Nope.
Done. I will make that change tomorrow on the webpage.
Does my ass look big in this? Yeah.
I've got a good tagline as well. I knew the conversation would devolve here, right?
Oh,
It
yeah.
should be like, there you go. The Alberta Scotch Society, where nothing tastes like shit.
Oh, I do like that one.
We could do that. And when I sign off on letters, it's usually president of your ass. It's just we play with it. It's very. Some people don't like it as much, and I don't know if they're part of our society as long. You can't make yourself.
Actually, there is that certain person that wrote the email is a member.
Okay. Well, oh well. They'll adapt to us, or they won't. It's okay. Another quote. We ready?
Oh no!
Here we go. Don't hesitate to put your whiskey away for a while. What you like today might strike you differently tomorrow, and what you really enjoyed last month might taste like an astringent medicine next week. So that's page 21. Daniel and panel. I like that. Daniel and panel. Can each of you think about a bottle that got better over time, or vice versa, got like crap over time? And let's start with you, Daniel. Oh, sorry. Nope. Mac Daddy, you had the hand up. Go ahead, buddy.
So I was just thinking because in our Ask Society, we did a tasting on Compass Box recently.
Yep.
And Compass Box, they're all blends. So then I went out to a shop and I bought a bottle of Adelphi, which is also a blend.
Yep. That's a cheap
and opened it up, and I really didn't like it. Didn't like it for the first couple weeks. I put it up on Facebook, and some people are commenting that, oh, it's a great bottle for its price, and give it time to open up. And I was thinking, yeah, whatever. But then, yeah, that's the bottle. But then 2 weeks later, I had it again, and it really did open up. It started to blend a bit. I mean, it's not a grand bottle, not by any means, not at that price point, right? But it definitely got better over time.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, $35 Canadian, so I don't know, 10 American is what it is. I'm kidding. No, it's probably about 25 American then.
Wow. I mean, you can't get much here for $25.
So Adelphi's good. So they're an independent bottler, and they put this blend out, and it's probably just a whiskey. So 3, 4, 5-year-old, but it does. And I'll agree. You know what? I think it takes a little bit of time to actually enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's like the Aaron 10 that we did that vertical tasting on.
Yeah.
I had a bottle there. I opened it. It was I hated it. It sat on my shelf. I mean, I had opened it years ago, and we went back and tasted it. It was like, this is actually pretty good. Now, we're talking years, so maybe A, my taste buds have changed, or B, the oxidization over time has made it better, right? But then, I mean, you're talking an Aaron 10-year-old from 2010. At that point, they would have been 14 years in business, right?
Okay. Yep. That was my favorite of the night. I really did. I love the nose on it.
And I agree. Yeah.
Anyone else? Sheila, Dave, Drew?
Yeah. I had a 1990 Rosebank that I opened I had it for my master's degree. And when I opened it, I cried. It was the worst bottle of whiskey I'd ever had. It was horrid. And I'd had Rosebanks before that were beautiful, so this bottle just made me want to. It was awful. And we took it out in the afternoon one evening. It was plus 30, and we sat it outside for 3 hours. And, just because we thought
you boiled it. It
was okay.
And it was pretty decent after that. We let it sit for another 6 or 7 months after that, went back to it, and it wasn't the best Rosebank I'd ever had after that, but it certainly wasn't the bottle that made me cry.
Okay, good. Let's go.
Let's say it really quickly. Ardbeg 10 for me. I love it when it's open, but after I drink about a quarter of the bottle, once in a while, I'll store it for 6 months, come back to it. It's different whiskey, and I still love it. So that is the one I know that after 6 months, I could drink it, stop. 6 months later, completely different whiskey, in my opinion. Still really good.
Well, and I told this story a long time ago. I think on the first book club, first thing. I was in Vancouver, and I walked for probably easily an hour in the rain. For some reason, I couldn't find an umbrella anywhere, but I stopped in a bar, and the manager got talking to me, and he gave me a Japanese whiskey for free. And I really enjoyed it. So I bought a bottle when I got home when the tax wasn't so high, and I hated it at home. I said, it tastes way better when you're cold and wet. And
a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
Did it get better, Dave?
No, it never did. I drank the whole thing, but I got rid of it real quick, though.
You forced it down.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I've got
guys,
two stories.
Worst bottle you ever want to buy, go to Costco, buy their non-age statement 1.75 liter. It's about $30, and it's not even good for cocktails. And that can be your base.
No, your base one, Sam's Club, 1.5 gallons of Clan McGregor for $2.95.
Oh, that's also very disgusting.
It is horrible paint thinner, let alone anything else.
Yeah.
And you're drinking that? Why? Where were you?
At the time, it was like, oh my God, look at what you get for this cheap at Sam's Club. It's fantastic. Yeah, no, it's disgusting.
All right.
For
me, and several of you have had this down here, and I tell you, it's the worst whiskey I've ever had. So Cavalan, which generally we like, it's a Cavalan Solist in a what cask? It was a sherry cask, and this, and I've been waiting. I really have been waiting. So it's been 3, 4, 5, probably 5, 6 years. No, this is really old. I've had it, hoping that one day it's going to get better. And it's disgusting. It's fucking gross. And and Cavalan is really good. So some people, you know what? I think it might be corked. It might be. I
would
think
say it's corked, but it's definitely over oaked.
So it was, and I'm guessing it was in 40-degree weather at the very top in the corner, and it's $250 bottle of crap is what it was. I hated it. So so that's my one that never got better, that I hoped would get better one day and never ever did. Daniel, I'm going to give you another chance. Anything else in there?
This happens to me all the time, and I think this is why I mentioned it in the book. I mean, there are bottles that I have like waited to get my hands on, and then I love it at first, and then I try it later on, and I'm just like, I can't do that, and vice versa. I mean, my wife was talking about St. George Spirits. Do you guys have access to St. George Spirits? Is that something that you guys know?
I don't. Nope.
Gosh, there's so many. Let's have a big get together in California. We'll do all the small local distillers. These guys have been around for a long time. There's so many cool, innovative things happening. These guys have been around for a long time, and they're making a single malt called Baller, right? So Mac Daddy, we were just talking about highballs, and it's made for highballs and sought after. It's like $90 US. And I had to reserve a bottle of this, and I was like, this is so good. And I tried it recently, and it's like overly flowery, like too floral. Like I don't like things that taste like roses. I like the smell. I can't stand the taste. I still have it. Like I think it's really interesting. I love having friends taste it, but it totally tastes different to me, right? Where there are other things, Hibiki, their Harmony. When I first I was like, I can't do this. It's not sitting well, and now I love it. Right. So there are a lot of things that just change. To me, I'm sure it's my palate. I'm sure it's like what I've been drinking recently.
Well, one of the first tastings I ever went to was a Glen Farkless tasting, and I bumped the table and knocked I broke, was it like eight whiskey glasses on the floor, and they had a 30 and a 40-year-old whiskey there that I just hated. I'd love to go back and try it again.
Now that your palate is a little bit,
like it.
Yeah.
Oh, you would. I got a 25. I just love. It's fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what? In Glen Farkless, the 15 is my favorite. It's still young enough to be vibrant, but it's old enough to kind of lose that edge. The 17 is getting a little
right in there.
Yeah. Well, mine is
maybe like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to a question we had before, and I told you to think about it. How much are you willing to pay on a bottle going blind? What's your point where you're thinking this is a bit too expensive? I'm not doing it. So I'm going to go right across. And actually, you know what? Let's start from the bottom. Nick, let's go to you, and then Mac Daddy, and we'll go that way.
Well, I know for a fact it's $129.
That's it.
SNWS bottles, I'll buy blind for $130, $129. But over that, I'd like to have that sample first. So,
okay,
that's from real experience. $129.
Mac Daddy,
I think for me about $80. You know, just kind of under that $100 mark blind. Over that, I'd like to have a sample first.
I'm doing this differently. Drew, then Sheila, please.
Personally, 800. There's the
blind?
best I've ever spent blind.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Did you buy blind?
Not often.
75.
Oh, okay.
Birthday bottle. They wouldn't give me a sample of it. Normally, probably 250 to 300 would be my cutoff blind. She, I know, has spent much more.
Sheila?
Throw her under the bus.
I spent $1,400 blind on a 1979 Port Ellen, which is probably about $4,000 now.
But that's okay. If it's an investment blind, and I want to make a differentiation here, because some of us have bought stuff to sell maybe in the future.
Oh,
So
we don't
drink.
sell whiskey.
We drink.
I
and
bought
share.
this for my PhD bottle, though.
Okay.
So, this is my PhD bottle.
So when that happens next year in the spring?
Oh God, no! It's probably about 3 years from now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, PhD
All right.
right. Finished, dude.
I understand.
Slow learner.
Yeah. So your regular blind, you'd spend.
Regular blind. I think the most we've spent is about $400.
All right. Dave, how about you?
So for me, if it's going to be blind, it's going to be in the $80 range. But because I'm a liquor rep, I get to try all kinds of stuff, and I don't buy much that I don't get to try first.
Okay.
So it's kind of an unfair question because I've got an advantage over everybody. Well, I can't say that because some of the stores will give all you guys samples.
Yeah.
Except for Kent.
I have a very hard time getting samples at stores.
Oh, well, especially now, but Ken,
Right
what
now.
do you got? How much?
The most I spent blind was 1,050, but on average, I would say 150, 175 blind.
Now the $1,000 one, was that sell later?
That was the McAllen Reflections, and
Okay.
I bought it to sell.
Okay.
But that being said, I mean,
It's still sitting on our shelf.
it's sitting on my shelf, and it's not out of the realm of me opening and drinking it.
All right.
'Cause
Cheryl?
I bought everything basically to drink. That one I just bought to sell.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with his 150. It used to be a lot lower. And I think where I would spend the 150 blind is on a brand that I know. So it may be a new release of something, but it's a brand I know. If it's a brand I don't know, I think I'd still be reluctant to do anything over 100, about the $100 mark. But if it's something I know and it's still blind, well, the Glenmorangie cake was one, whatever, 130. But I know Glenmorangie. So it's like, okay, I'll take it. I don't care what it is.
That's a good point because we know. I don't think that's blind. And when we buy the Ardbeg, the committee bottlings of Ardbeg, and we're paying $300, I don't think that's blind because we know them. Even though sometimes like Drum just doesn't suit. It doesn't like.
Right. Yeah.
That was a failure, big time failure. Actually, the last 3 years, the committee release has been a failure. If anybody from Ardbeg's, actually, I know enough people from Ardbeg, they know what I think of it, so we won't mention it.
Daniel.
Well, define blind. I realize that we're talking about blind. Is that just I haven't tasted it, or I've never heard of it?
You've never heard of it. Maybe you've heard of it, but never seen it, never tasted it for one. Because there's distilleries out there that you'll see a bottle and it's like, I don't think I've heard about that before.
Yeah. So to me, those are two different things, right? If you or a friend of mine said, "Oh my God, this is amazing! You got to get it," and I walk up and it's, I'm going to throw out like 200, 250, and I've never tried it, I would buy it. Right. I mean, again, it's that whole "do you trust the people around you" kind of thing.
That's right.
So to me, if somebody's like, "This is amazing, you got to get a bottle," that's a different story than I'm at. So Costco here, by the way, I don't know if Costco in Canada is the same. In San Francisco, Costco has amazing alcohol.
No, not here.
We do have some.
They bring some.
They do get a little bit.
When they bring that Kirkland's brand in, that 19 to 24-year-old, they bring it in, a couple cases every year. We buy that sight unseen blind. I don't care what.
Single malt.
Oh yeah,
it's
always
always
been good.
Oh
delicious.
wow, nice. No, I mean, even like the other brands that they carry. I mean, in San Francisco, they've got amazing, right? So I'll walk in and I'll see something that I've never had. And, in there, so if I've never heard of it and it's just, I'm like, that's really interesting, I'll probably go to like 80, 90. It is all US, but it's not that different. But whereas if somebody tells me, even if I've never had it, I'd probably go up to 200, 250 maybe.
Okay. And I'm at the 200, 300 point with something or a distillery I know, or I've had something that I've liked from them before. And from distilleries that I've never seen before, I have a hard time being too much over 100, 150. Like if it's someone that's just never heard, that's where it gets testy. And then maybe other people tell me certain things about it. But I look at the blogs, I see tons of stuff, and my whole Instagram thing is all alcohol related, like nothing else. Twitter is political, but Instagram is all alcohol. And now Facebook is now becoming all alcohol. It used to be just family, but I've dumped them because I don't hear about anything. So it's all alcohol. So I hear a lot, but I don't know if I don't trust them. There's only a certain amount of people that I trust in my life with my money, with alcohol. So 150, if I've never heard of them, never tasted it, and I just want to kind of delve into it. And that still depends on what it says on the bottle. If it's a single malt, cask strength, single barrel, these all influence things as well. So it's kind of a complex question that I guess asked you guys, but we're there.
For the clarification, for clarification, there, Dolph.
I am going to. Go ahead, bud.
Clarification: most of my blind is always independent bottler, cask strength, single barrel, and that drives the price to a certain level, anyways.
Yes, it does. But we're looking for something, and we assume we're going to get a certain quality there. We're over the hour, guys. So that's it. We're done for the night. And I've got like three pages of questions we didn't get to that, one day we might. Because actually, I'm going to say this, my surprising quote, because I don't want this to ever come out, because I like this surprising quote. I'm not taken aback by things too often. I'm not. I saw it was about alcohol. It's what hillbillies. I'll put it in front of me. It's what hillbillies soaked up in Appalachia while snuggling with their cousins. That took me aback. I'm going, whoo! That's pushing the boundaries just a little bit, and it's good. I'm glad. And Dave, you said you have a quote. We'll end on your quote, Dave.
I got one. It says here, a bartender once told me that white whiskey is like a distiller wearing only his underwear. I think that's perfect.
It's perfect. So we're going to go to the after Dram, and that's all the time we have tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So Whiskey Brothers, Whiskey Sisters, it's been a fantastic evening. Thank you to you, the listeners. Thanks to the panel, Cheryl, Dave, Drew, Jason, Kent, Nicholas, Sheila, and of course, Daniel and his lovely wife, Samjita, who hopefully can hear us in the background. And
I'll tell her not.
It's been a pleasure spending this time with you. So we've been, and everyone did the book. I should do the same thing. And I have a picture of this book that I never put up, and I feel bad that I never put up pictures sometimes. So here's the book right there.
There.
Everyone see that? Done. I'm Daniel's face as I do it, so it's not going to be very long.
I expected it to be bigger when I got it. Like all the pictures I saw, and then when I got it, I thought, well, this is tiny compared to the picture.
One doesn't beat us in our
It looks massive. Yeah. All right. Glasses, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the good company. Here's the good whiskey. Here's the good books. And here's the good conversation. And here's to seeing you all next week, Saturday, February 13th, 2021, for our Whiskey Book Club's 8th book. This one right here, Drink More Whiskey, Everything You Need to Know About Your New Favorite Drink by Daniel Yaffe. Done. He'll be here. Well, we're hoping he's going to be here. He might not. We might have scared away. Enough of this. As a final note, if you don't want to miss a minute of all this, click like, subscribe, and that's it. We're going to see you then. So see you next Saturday. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And Sludge.